All right, welcome back. And today we're still in chapter 13. This is the subjunctive part 2. And we're going to be talking in this presentation about how the subjunctive is used. So let's go ahead. The key words for purpose, and this is the predominant use of the subjunctive in the New Testament, is to express purpose. So many purpose statements in the Greek New Testament. The key words there are hina and hapos, and they're both translated as in order that. So the example down below from 1 John 3:8, we have ephanerothe hahuiastu theou. The Son of God was manifest, or was revealed, hina luce. Hina is the red flag word, luce, first aorist, active subjunctive, third person singular, in order that he might destroy the works of the devil. So purpose statements, hina and hapos. The subjunctive is often used in conditional sentences, and this is where we have a if followed by a then. And the key word is aeon. So a sentence introduced by aeon expresses what may happen or what is expected to happen if the given condition is fulfilled. So from John 13:35, en tuto nosantai, in this they will know that amoi mathetai esta, that to me you are disciples, or that you are my disciples. All right, then we have the red flag word aeon, if, agapein echeta en alelois. So if followed here by the present subjunctive, continuous action. If you should have love among one another. So that's another major use of the subjunctive, conditional clauses. All right, with the red flag words that we saw in part 1, the words are on or aeon that are used with things or persons. So we have has aeon or has on, whoever, ha aeon or ha on, whatever thing, ha aeon, ha on, whatever things, and hapu aeon or hapu on, wherever. So in Luke 9:57, akalutheso, this is a future, you haven't had this verb yet. I will follow you. And then we have hapu aeon, wherever. And aperche here is a present deponent subjunctive, third person singular of aperchomai, wherever you should go. All right, the subjunctive can also introduce time with a temporal clause. You'll see the word hatan, whenever. Do you see the word time in the whenever? So from Matthew 10:23, hatan de diokosin, whenever. All right, diokosin, present active subjunctive, third person plural. Whenever they should persecute you in the city, or this city, fugita, flee, eistain heteron, flee into the other, meaning the city. All right, the subjunctive word hina, or the red flag word for the subjunctive, can also just simply be translated as that. For example, John 15:8, we have in this, and then the subject there, my Father, edoxaste, aorist passive subjunctive third singular, was glorified. And then you have hina, that's the red flag for the subjunctive, and it's followed by phereta, present active subjunctive of pharaoh. So here it wouldn't be translated as in order that you might bear much fruit, but simply that you bear much fruit. That is how the Father is glorified. Now, the subjunctive is also used to express exhortation. And this is what is called the hortatory subjunctive. And you see in the word hortatory a relationship to exhortation. And here's where we have the subjunctive appears independently without one of those red flag words. And it's usually at the beginning of a clause, and it's in the first person plural, and is to be translated as let us, an exhortation. Thus, for example, in Hebrews 13:13, ex erchometha. Here we have a present deponent subjunctive, first person plural, from ex erchomai. Now, there's no red flag word here. It's first person plural. So here we insert the words let us as an exhortation. Let us go forth to him, meaning outside the city, to where he is. Now, the subjunctive can also introduce a deliberative question. And think of the word deliberate with this. This also appears without red flag words, and it's going to be found in the first person singular or plural, and context, as always, is the clue. So in 1 Corinthians 11:22, we have te, apo, humin. And this is in the context of the Corinthians' disorder at the Lord's Supper. The Lord's Supper itself at Corinth had a way of becoming stratifying or dividing or polarizing the community between the haves and the have-nots. And so we have here te, which means what, and apo. Apo is the second aorist active subjunctive, first person singular. So what shall I say to you? And then Paul goes on, shall I praise you? Certainly not. I'm not going to praise you, because when you come together, it's for the worse, not the better. So when the Corinthian community comes together, in a sense, Paul is saying, you degenerate. So, deliberative question. Sometimes this subjunctive can be used to express a prohibition, and it's called the subjunctive of prohibition. The subjunctive will occur in the second person singular or plural, and is going to be found with the negative may. U is the negative with the indicative. May is the negative with everything else. So in John 3:7, we have Jesus speaking to Nicodemus. He says, me thaumases. Thaumases, aorist active subjunctive, second person singular. So this is translated, do not marvel that I said to you. And then he goes on, it is necessary to be born from on high. So that's a subjunctive of prohibition. Now, the subjunctive can also express a very strong negation. So here's where we have the u that is joined together with may, followed by an aorist subjunctive, and it means a very strong negation. So in Matthew 5:20, Jesus talks about the righteousness of the people of God that needs to surpass the righteousness of the religious leaders. And he says if it doesn't, we have the two negatives, u and may, ace, el, theta. This is a second aorist active subjunctive, second person plural. you shall not, or you shall by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. So ume with an air subjunctive, strong negation. So let's take a look at a couple examples of the subjunctive in the New Testament, and I'm going to kind of work on this slowly with you. I know that you haven't had all the words in these verses. So in John 6:37, at the end we have ume with ekbalo. This is first or second aorist active subjunctive, first singular. And that would be translated, I will by no means cast out. Now, the direct object of I will by no means cast out is right here. Ton erchomenon. That's a present deponent participle, masculine singular accusatives. So I will by no means cast out the one who comes to me. John 11:40. Jesus speaking to Martha. So Jesus says to her, uk apon. Now this is a question. So if it's just simply an indicative, I did not say to you, but if we make it a question and we see the Greek punctuation right here, did I not say to you that aeon pistues? Now notice the sigma there, pistuses. First aorist active subjunctive, second person singular. If you should believe, upsays, you will see the glory of God. Now, in John 5:46, we have Jesus speaking to the religious leaders. For if you were believing Moses, and then epistueta on emoi, you would believe in me. For that one wrote concerning me. Now this is used with a contrary to fact conditional sentence in that both halves are untrue. For if you were believing Moses, which you're not, you would be believing in me, which you're not also. Pretty strong indictment. Now in Luke 2:15, kai ageneta, and it came to pass as, now the subject there of peothon is hoi angeloi, right over here. The angels departed from them into heaven. The shepherds, elalun, you haven't had this word, were speaking to one another. Now, here we have the elthomen. This comes from dierchomai. And notice the internal change. So second aorist, active subjunctive, first person plural, and there is no red flag word prior to the subjunctive. So this would be the hortatory subjunctive. Let us go through Heos Bethlehem to Bethlehem, and then we have another hortatory subjunctive here. Idomen. This comes from Adon minus the augment. So second aorist active subjunctive, first person plural. Let us see ta remat tuta. This word or this thing. Ta gegonos, which has come to pass, which the Lord ignorisen made known to us. So here we have two hortatory subjunctives, first person plural. Let us go through and let us see. From 1 John 1:10, aeon apomen, if we should say, and this is a second aorist active subjunctive, first person plural. Now notice this is a point action. If we should say, or if we should make this claim, that we have not sinned, meaning we are in a sinless condition. Sustain, liar, poiumen, we make. So we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. And finally, from the high priestly prayer of Jesus in John 17. And on behalf of them I sanctify myself. Now we have hina followed by osin. There's the present subjunctive of Amy. In order that they themselves, now notice the autoi, they themselves might be hagiesmanoi. Now notice this is a perfect middle passive participle, masculine plural nominative. Hagiasmanoi. There's reduplication on the front, loss of a helping vowel, and then the men. So they themselves might be sanctified in truth. So here, hina is used to express a purpose. And that's the predominant use of the subjunctive in the New Testament. So thanks, and I trust that this has been helpful.